this lesson plan, there are 4 simple hand movements for 4 simple numbers, numbers 1, 2, 3 and 4. Now, I would just like to say, before showing you the hand gestures and how to do them, that I would say if you're doing this in early years or Key Stage 1, that every time that you're demonstrating in front of the class, every time that you move left, that you move right instead, and so forth for right to left. This is just so that when you're showing this in front of the children, that they can mimic your arm movements properly and be moving left to right, not right to left. Now, there are 4 simple arm movements, each that copy that of a composer. So we start at number 1. So we start up here and you go number 1. Number 2 is to your left, so number 2. Number 3 is to your right, so number 3. And then you can back up for number 4. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now obviously, if you're in early years or in Key Stage 1, again you might want to do right to left, so I would just look like 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, to teach my class just these arm movements, I would start off by doing it really simple and just taking it really slow, especially because this curriculum development material is based for Key Stage 1. So, I would start off by getting the children to follow what I'm doing, and I would use the hand gestures to show when it's my turn and when it's their turn. So okay, so my turn to show number 1. Children's turn to show number 1. So all the children should copy me doing this. And then I'll go my turn doing number 2. And all the children do number 2. And then we'll do number 3 and number 4. And then you might make it a bit more difficult for them depending on how quickly they got that. So you might say, okay, so we'll do 1 and 2, and then they'd do it. And then you do 3 and 4, and then they'd follow on the same. As soon as they've got all that, I would then move on to just doing all 4 together. To start off with, I wouldn't focus too much on whether the children are saying the numbers, mainly just getting the arm movements. And then as a class, we can just continuously do this for about 30 seconds as a whole class, and then we can maybe start to add in the numbers. So I'll start to add in the numbers and children can copy and follow on whenever they feel necessary. So I can start off by going and 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, if you notice the breath after number 4, this is just to represent to the children that we're starting the cycle again. So we take a big breath in at number 4 and then we start again with number 1. And this will just help them hear the differences from the start to the end of the sequence and really help them understand that a bit deeper. I wouldn't spend any more than a couple of minutes of doing everything as a class. I would move on to the next activity. Some children are going to progress really quickly with this and understand it a lot more than others might, but this is okay. This is why we've planned for differentiation our lesson, and we've planned for all these levels of students. So for the next bit, I'd just move on to explaining to the children that on a different number, they need to do a different action, whether this be clap, stomp, maybe a wave if you don't want much noise, anything just to signify that they're making a movement on a certain number. But the one rule is that no one's allowed to say the numbers. So I'm going to do the hand gestures, and the children have got to clap or stomp on the right number. So I'm going to say, okay, I would like my class to clap on the number 2, but we're not going to say anything. I'm just going to do the hand gestures, you're going to clap. So I'd go I'd do it very slowly. I would mime the numbers to start off with, just to see whether the children are understanding it. And then you can start to move on to not saying the numbers, or you can add in 2 actions. So you could say, can you clap on number 2 and can you stomp on number 4? Or can you clap on number 2 and wave on number 3? And once we've done this with the children and we can really see who's progressing and who might be struggling a little bit, this is when we can send our children into breakout groups and they can do the task on their own.